crow can decide what kind of person you are in seconds. Not emotionally, not morally, strategically. And once that decision is made, the crow may remember you for years. Most people walk past crows without thinking twice about them. Just blackbirds on power lines, shapes in parking lots, background noise in a city already full of movement. But crows do not see humans as background noise. They study us constantly. Scientists discovered this in one of the most unsettling animal intelligence experiments ever conducted. Researchers wearing specific masks captured and handled wild crows for a study. Years later, the crows still recognized those same faces. Younger crows that had never seen the original event also reacted aggressively to the masks. The information had spread. The crows had taught each other who the dangerous humans were. That changes the way you think about them immediately. Because suddenly, every crow staring at a person from a rooftop feels less random, less instinctive, more deliberate. And crows are unbelievably good at observation. A human sees a city as chaos, cars, lights, noise, thousands of meaningless interactions happening every hour. A crow sees patterns. Which humans leave food behind? Which streets become dangerous at certain hours? Which people move aggressively? Which neighborhoods are safer? Which routines repeat every day? To survive beside humanity, crows became masters of prediction. That is why they thrive almost everywhere humans exist. Most wild animals retreat when cities expand. Crows adapted. In fact, some scientists believe urban environments actually made crows smarter because cities constantly reward problem solving. Every trash bin, intersection, traffic light, or crowded sidewalk becomes part of a giant puzzle the crow learns to navigate. And crows learn quickly. In Japan, researchers observed crows dropping hard nuts onto roads so cars would crush them open. But what shocked scientists was what happened next. The crows waited for traffic lights to stop cars before safely retrieving the food. They learned the rhythm of traffic. Not because anyone trained them, because they watched. That is the detail people underestimate about crows. They are always watching something. A crow sitting silently above a parking lot may already understand more about the movement below than most humans realize. It notices repetition, timing, human habits, weaknesses. Humans often think intelligence looks emotional because human intelligence is emotional. But crow intelligence feels colder than that, more analytical. A crow does not need to hate a human to avoid them. It does not need to like a human to trust them. It simply gathers evidence. And once enough patterns repeat, the crow makes a decision. Researchers studying crow behavior noticed that some crows react differently to specific humans, even when clothing changes completely. That means the crow is not simply memorizing color or shape. It is recognizing identity. That should feel strange, because most people assume human faces matter mainly to other humans. Yet somehow, a bird evolved the ability to remember us individually. And memory changes everything. Many animals survive through instinct alone. Immediate reactions, immediate danger, immediate escape. Crows survive through accumulated knowledge. Every negative encounter becomes information. Every safe location becomes information. Every human interaction becomes information. Their world is built for memory. That is why crow behavior can feel unsettling in a way other birds do not. A pigeon may ignore you completely. A sparrow may startle and disappear, but a crow watches, sometimes for long periods. And humans instinctively notice that attention even when they pretend not to. There is something deeply uncomfortable about realizing another intelligence may be evaluating you, not as prey, not as family, but as a behavioral pattern. Scientists studying corvids, the bird family that includes crows and ravens, discovered abilities once thought impossible for birds: tool creation, long-term planning, complex problem-solving, social learning. Some experiments even showed crows solving multi-step puzzles that required understanding sequence and cause and effect. In certain tasks, their performance rivals primates, which forces an uncomfortable question. What exactly is happening inside the mind of a crow? Because whatever it is, it clearly is not simple instinct anymore. One experiment demonstrated that crows could bend wires into hooks to retrieve food. Another showed them storing tools for future use instead of immediate reward. That requires something extremely important: foresight, the ability to think ahead. Most humans never imagine birds planning for the future, yet crows do it constantly. And maybe that is why people throughout history treated crows differently from other animals. Almost every culture attached symbolism to them: death, prophecy, bad omens, hidden knowledge. The crow became a creature people respected and feared at the same time. Not because crows attacked humans, because they seemed aware. Ancient humans may not have understood animal cognition scientifically, but they still recognized something unusual in the way crows behaved: the prolonged staring, the caution, the intelligence, the sense that the bird was not merely reacting to the environment, but interpreting it. Even today, people describe crows with strangely human language. He was judging me. It looked like it understood. It remembered me. And scientifically speaking, it probably did. But the most disturbing part of crow intelligence is not their memory. It is the fact that crow knowledge spreads socially. A single crow learning something important can influence an entire group. Dangerous humans become shared information. Safe places become shared information. Threats become shared information. Which means your relationship with one crow may not stay between you and that crow. You may already exist inside a network of recognition you cannot see. And unlike humans, crows rarely stop paying attention once they decide something matters. That is why people sometimes feel uneasy when a crow follows them with its eyes. Because deep down, humans recognize observation instinctively, especially when the observer feels intelligent. Most animals look through humans. Crows look at humans. And once you notice the difference, you cannot unnotice it. The strangest thing about crows is not that they are intelligent. It is how they use that intelligence. Most animals react emotionally and immediately. Fear appears, then disappears. Danger comes, then passes. Crows behave differently. They investigate. When a crow discovers danger, it does not simply flee and forget. Often, it studies the threat first. This behavior becomes especially eerie during what scientists sometimes call crow funerals. When a crow dies, others gather around the body. They watch silently from nearby trees, rooftops, fences, and power lines. To humans, it almost looks like mourning. But researchers believe something more strategic is happening. The crows are trying to understand what caused the death. If the dead crow lies near a predator, a road or a human, the gathering becomes a lesson. The crows observe carefully, storing information about possible danger. Even death becomes data. That alone says something extraordinary about how crows experience the world. Survival for them is not just instinctive reaction. It is collective intelligence built through observation. And that intelligence spreads. Scientists found that crows communicate threats socially. A human who harms or frightens one crow can eventually trigger defensive reactions from crows that were never there during the original event. The memory travels through the group. A bird not only remembers a human face, but transfers that information across generations. That idea feels unsettling because humans instinctively associate observation with consciousness. The more intentional an animal appears, the more people feel watched rather than merely seen. And crows feel intentional. A crow can stare at a human for several seconds without visible emotion at all. No obvious aggression, no obvious affection, just attention. And attention without emotion makes people uncomfortable because humans rely heavily on emotional cues to feel safe around another mind. Crows do not provide those cues. Instead, they provide silence, observation, patience. Researchers observed crows creating tools from branches, modifying objects for specific tasks, and even planning sequences of actions before attempting a problem. Some experiments demonstrated that crows understand water displacement, using stones to raise water levels high enough to access floating food. That requires reasoning, not memorization, not instinct. Reasoning. For a long time, humans believed advanced intelligence required large primate brains. Crows challenge that assumption completely, which means intelligence in nature may emerge in more forms than humans expected. And perhaps that is what makes crows feel so uncanny. They are intelligent in a way humans did not prepare themselves for. Even now, crows continue adapting to human civilization faster than many species around them. They learn routines quickly. They exploit new opportunities quickly. They remember danger quickly. A human may stop noticing the same street after walking it every day. A crow keeps updating information constantly. That parked car was not there yesterday. That human changed behavior today. That route became unsafe this week. To a crow, survival depends on noticing what changed. And maybe that is the final reason people become so fascinated by them. Because somewhere deep down, humans sense that crows are not simply surviving beside civilization anymore. They're studying it. The next time a crow stares at you from a rooftop or follows you silently with its eyes, remember something important. You're not looking at a simple bird. You're looking at an animal that can remember faces, solve problems, teach others, study behavior, and adapt to one of the most chaotic environments on Earth. And somewhere inside that crow's mind, you may already exist as a memory.